Well, from drugs to drinking, Suffolk County has some of the highest number of arrests of motorists who should not be behind the wheel. This morning, News 12 Long Island's Eileen LaPalmer takes you on patrol. It's part one of her two-part series called Under the Influence.
It's a nightly mission.
145-934.
And on this cold night, we are part of the action. Riding along with Sergeant Patrick Detweiler and his team of 9 Suffolk police officers as they go on the hunt for drunk or drugged up drivers.
The units are assigned primarily into the Patchogue area and the Holbrook area.
They're known as the Safety Team, a specialized unit unique to the Suffolk Police Department. Their only goal on patrol, to stop drivers under the influence. They don't have other distractions since they don't respond to 911 calls.
The SAFE team is the largest and oldest stop DWI team in the state. We track areas that have a high incident of motor vehicle crashes with alcohol involvement.
And within a half hour of being in the patrol car, one member of the team, Officer Brian McMurray, pulled over this car on Patchogue Holbrook Road.
When the light turned green, he got on it and accelerated very quickly in front of everybody else and brought it up to 65.
The officer said he smelled alcohol on the man and gave him the standard tests. First, the pen up to the eyes, then walking in a straight line and holding a leg up. Police say the man had trouble with those tests and then was arrested after we're told he got a .17 on the handheld breathalyzer, more than double the legal limit.
I knew it was a lot more than one.
Last year, the Suffolk Police Department made thousands of DWI arrests, 123 of them made by just one officer on the safety team, Roger Kleber.
It doesn't matter who gets the most as long as we get them off the road.
What do you look for when you're out there?
Everything. Fade a signal, not maintaining lane.
We did see the officers pull over a couple of drivers who turned out not to be under the influence and were quickly let go. So could someone just be a bad driver?
Yes, and we get a lot of that. We get a lot of texters.
And sometimes the officers pull over someone not drunk, but clearly under the influence of a drug. In those cases, they call in a cop known as a DRE, or a drug recognition expert.
We will look at the subject's eyes. We also take vital signs, blood pressure, pulse. We take the person's temperature.
1, 2, 3.
At the end of our night on patrol, the team had made 7 DWI arrests. Average for a weekend night, something they say they know needs to be done.
We want the public to know that the patrols are out there.
Every day in the paper there's somebody who crashed into a building or a house or drove the wrong way. There's somebody getting hurt every night.
Do you think you're saving lives by what you do every night?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In Patchogue, Eileen LaPalmer, News 12 Long Island.
Nassau County Police have officers assigned to what they call the SET team for DWI enforcement. How are the officers trained? Tomorrow, Eileen LaPalmer will show you what it takes to be part of these patrols, as well as a certified drug recognition expert.
It's a growing problem here in the island. Drivers suspected of getting behind the wheel high on drugs.
And tonight we get a look at how police officers are trained to tell if a driver is drunk or high. News 12 Long Island's Eileen LaPalmer has part 2 of our special series, Under the Influence.
It's a nightly battle trying to keep people under the influence off our roads. Sometimes the drivers are drunk, but sometimes they're drugged up. So how do officers spot the difference? It starts with the basic training they receive in the police academy.
I think I'm on my 9th.
Where volunteers like Anthony agree to come in and are closely watched as they get drunk.
How many drinks have you had over this period of time?
About 8 or 9.
Do you feel intoxicated?
Not really. I mean, at this point, I would not think I'm over the legal limit, but I am clearly well over the legal limit.
So after about 4 hours of that monitored drinking, the volunteers come down here to the first floor of the Suffolk County Police Academy, where they then put the recruits to the test.
So you're going to stand with your feet together?
But these tests for alcohol use are just half the battle. Some officers go on to become drug recognition experts, or DREs, cops who are highly trained to use their powers of observation to determine what kind of drug a person is on. They can be called to the scene of a car stop or conduct further tests in a precinct.
I'd like to tell the officers that the truth is in the eyes.
Officer James Scpd is the Suffolk coordinator for the DREs.
We will look at the subject's eyes in a room light setting. We'll look at their eyes in a dark room setting. The reason why we do this is certain drugs will dilate or make your pupils larger. We also take vital signs, blood pressure, pulse. We take the person's temperature. It's a 12-step systematic and standardized evaluation.
A new class of DREs just graduated earlier this month. Right now, there are 12 of them in the Suffolk Police Department, 5 in the Nassau PD. So how do they train when, unlike with alcohol, there are no volunteers legally allowed to take drugs? They have previously trained in jails where they monitor people already under the influence. This time, they headed to a drug treatment facility in Jacksonville, Florida.
We were testing subjects that were brought into their facility. They bring the subjects in, and it's dual-fold. We were able to test and have the students identify drug-impaired subjects, and it also a preventive measure and to get the people help.
And those on all sides of the training learning important lessons.
It's a good eye-opener for drinking and driving. Going to the bar and realizing that pretty much after 3 or 4 drinks, you shouldn't be driving.
In Brentwood, Eileen LaPalmer, News 12 Long Island.
Well, last year, Suffolk police made 2,600 DUI arrests. Nassau police, about 2,000.